In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how I actually painted Sully's eyes on my most recent Cake International entry. That is also on my channel, and I will leave a link to that for you in the description below this video. On here, I have just used some foam balls with my fondant. So imagine this is on your cake. Now, I'm not very good with a paintbrush. So all I'm doing here using a simple circle cutter is pretty much just pushing it down gently so I do not cut through the fondant, but just so that I leave a mark as a guide. All I'm going to do then, using a very small piping nozzle, so not a large one, it's got a relatively sharp edge, I'm going to place that in the centre just before we start painting. This way you don't have to worry about getting that perfect circle because you've already left that line to paint within. Before we can paint our eyes, we need to actually prepare the colours, and you just want a small amount of alcohol. I'm choosing to use gin. Now I've got the Rainbow Dust Sky Blue and the Cassie Brown Blue Airbrushing colour, and also the Cassie Brown Black Airbrushing colour. They're all great. You can mix them with a small amount of gin just to help it evaporate quicker, but sometimes the airbrushing colours don't even need to be mixed with anything at all. But again, if you do mix them with some alcohol, it will evaporate faster. So just start by putting a small amount of your colour onto your paint palette, and then you literally just use the tiniest amount of alcohol. You do not need much to turn this into a paint. So you can see I'm using a very, very, very small spoon here, and I'm just going to pour that in, and then I will be using a brush and then just stir them all so you've got a lovely consistency. Repeat these with your other two colours. I'm starting with the lightest colour first, so the sky blue. And I'm going to be working from the inside of the eye, so where the pupil would be, outwards. Make sure that you don't go in the lines. Remember, you've used them as a guide. But you don't want this lighter blue to go all the way to the edge, just to add a little bit more of an effect to make it look more realistic. That's why we've got two different blues, and we're going to be adding the other blue on after we've done this and it's set for a short while. So just repeat this process for both of the eyes. I'm going to speed this up for you just so I don't bore you to death, and as you can see, I am not going all the way to the edge. So this is the effect you're aiming to achieve, and now we're going to use a slightly different shade of blue. This time you want to be going from the outside of the eye towards the pupil. Again, using those lines as a guide. Take your time with this one, because this one I have found is the part that really does add the effect. Always use your lighter colour first, then move on to the darker colour, and black will be the very last one that we are adding. So as you can see, I'm just using very small strokes. If you just add a little bit at a time at first, because remember, you can always make these strokes an awful lot longer if you choose to. But once the paint's on there, it's on there. So it's best just to do a little bit at a time, like it is when you're carving a cake. Just try not to do too much all at once, just in case it does not look right. Simply repeat this again for both of the eyes, and I will fast forward all of it for you so you can see everything that I am doing without getting bored to death. As soon as you have achieved this effect, it's time to move on to the black. We will do the easy bit first and start by simply painting the pupils. Now for the black, you want an even more finer brush than what I used for the actual eye colour. Simply fill in both of the pupils completely with the black colour, but so it meets with the blue so that you can't see any of the white fondant underneath. Take your time doing this. Remember, you want a very fine brush in order to do it. But because you have that guide there helping you, it is relatively easy. And as soon as they are finished, they will look something like this. This part of the tutorial is a little bit more fiddly and you do need a relatively steady hand, but if I can do it, I believe you can. Where the rim is, just around the outside of the eye, you will literally want to put in your very fine brush and go around each of the eyeballs. You'll be amazed at the difference this makes. It really does make the eyes stand out. I will simply fast forward this for you, but as you can see, I'm needing to do this part where all of the eye is facing me, so I will be swizzling it round because again, it's a lot more intricate than what we've already done, because you don't want to get any of the black onto the blue and you don't want to get any of the black onto the white part of the eye. So take your time, there's no rush, and remember what I said, I can do this when I'm not very good at painting, you can. You then simply want to repeat that process for the other eye. Almost finished. Now for the final finishing touch, take a very, very small amount of white fondant. Roll this in your palm into a ball shape and then simply place it to the top right of the pupil. Gently push it down to try and keep the round shape and repeat this for both of the eyes. And it really was as simple as that. They're so effective, yet they're really in your face. They're really good, but it's not that difficult. It didn't really take me too long, but you do need to take time when you're painting these. Remember, I always say I'm not fantastic with a paintbrush, so if I can do these, I believe anybody can. Thank you for your support, and I'll be back soon with more new free content.